welcome to a delayed version of the February edition of New on the Internet. We have some updates about various social platforms. I'm coming to you live from my house in a very allegedly icy, snowstormy day. It hasn't started yet, but it's threatening. So let's jump in and start with Instagram. Instagram made a big announcement a couple of days ago that they're going to be adding a broadcast channels chat feature. So this is a new way for creators to deepen their relationship with followers. It's a direct quote from their announcement. It is a one-to-many chat function where you can share text, media, voice notes, and live streams, I believe. You can go live in a broadcast channel. Essentially, it's a group chat where your followers can reply to the things you share, but it's shared in kind of a chat stream. Last year, Instagram did a lot of talking about how they wanted to focus on the chat functions and make it easier to share stuff with your friends and followers that you were connecting with in chat. So this is definitely a feature that they're adding that is in that vein. It is creators focused, so that is something that is interesting. And it is currently being tested and rolled out slowly. I, like always, do not have access to the feature yet. I'm always the last one to get any of these updates, especially on Instagram. So waiting to see what that's like. I'm intrigued by it. I think it's going to be an interesting way to talk to your followers, but I don't know behaviorally if it's going to be something that people will adopt rapidly. Messaging within Instagram has always been a tweaking point, something that the platform R&D team has been constantly messing with, basically. So it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out. Currently, it's invite all followers. It's not like a select list like close friends or anything like that, or subscribers. It is, you make a broadcast channel and it's currently a public function. There's going to be links in the recording notes of this episode that you can check out and read more about the actual announcement from Instagram. Facebook/Meta in general, so it's an Instagram and Facebook update, announced a paid verification program, much like Twitter's, for both Instagram and Facebook. It's called Meta Verified. It is launching in Australia and New Zealand to be tested currently, and it's designed to help creators establish their presence. So you pay for your blue check mark now on Meta. There's a lot of different opinions on this, some good, some bad, and I see both sides of it, right? Like, if you have to pay for something, it potentially could deter people from pretending to be you. However, it's not so cost prohibitive that somebody still couldn't invest some money and pretend to be you. I think it's funny that, all of these different social platforms really put a lot of time and effort, especially, from the beginning, of making that blue check mark something that was very exclusive and somewhat arbitrary to get, like the different, like, yes, this person gets a blue check, but no, this one doesn't. And the verification process was somewhat random. The fact that it's now a open game and pay to play, to me, feels very counterintuitive to what it was supposed to stand for. But at the same time, there are definitely people that should have had a blue check that didn't have access before. So I don't know. I go back and forth on it. I think it's hilarious. I think it's probably going to go poorly. Hopefully they took notes when Twitter launched theirs and aren't going to do some of the same things, and they're going to have, multiple levels of actual verification that go on before you're able to purchase Meta Verified. But who knows? Maybe they're like, yes, we want that big of a disaster for our platform too. We feel like we're missing out. So that's happening. If you're in Australia and New Zealand and you're watching this replay on YouTube or listening to the podcast, I would love to hear if you've gone through the process to get Meta Verified. What's it like? Tell us. The rest of the world wants to know. YouTube, rumored for a while, since 2021, YouTube has been finally starting to test some new podcast tools. Now, this is not an official announcement from YouTube about the new functionality, but this is the internet rumor mill getting a little bit more traction under it. There were a bunch of podcast executives that were hired a couple years back, and there have been 2 different resource guides that have come out recently from YouTube about podcasting on YouTube. And there have been some leaked slides about functionality that's being developed at YouTube for podcasts, as well as a report that's come out that the trajectory of where YouTube wants to head in the next 5 years that have included information about podcasting. So the new podcast tools that YouTube is testing and the various leaks and little rumor mill type things that are going on are pointing towards a added functionality to the platform. We've already seen things like YouTube Music trying to kind of be Spotify, and YouTube Shorts trying to be TikTok. It makes sense that this media giant wants to have a little bit of share of voice in the audio only space. Podcasters have long been using YouTube to upload audio only files with just an image onto YouTube. So I'm not surprised that the platform is finally being like, maybe we should make them a space for their audio only content. I think this is going to be interesting for me, who has just recently started podcasting. It would be a lot easier if I could use YouTube as sort of the hub for all of my content. I focus a lot of my time and effort there anyways, so having another space within it where I can post the audio only stuff formatted in a much better way and searchable by people who want that type of content, that would be much better. But currently, I mean, my stuff uploads to Google Podcasts and Apple Podcasts and everything else. So I'm curious how, with YouTube being owned by Google, how is Google Podcasts going to play in? Is that going to be integrated into YouTube? What's that going to look like? Lots of questions, but I'm interested to see what happens. Twitter, the only tea that I have for you today on Twitter is that Elon announced that he's aiming to appoint a new Twitter CEO by the end of the year, but that he wants to stabilize the platform first and then appoint the new head by the end of the year. So that, to me, is just more comical than anything. I'm curious to see what his stabilization plans look like. We'll see. LinkedIn, there were no major updates to the platform that I could find for this month. Let me know if you spot something or if you've seen an announcement. It would be hilarious because every single time I do one of these live streams, there's a big announcement, the next day. I try to wait till the end of the month, but I think the platforms do too. TikTok is opening 2 more data centers in Europe. This is of note because it's sort of a trust and safety thing. They want the data to be viewed as being protected and not being something that the Chinese government is accessing heavily. So those data centers in Europe are really key to that, especially for European countries that are distrustful of TikTok, as well as for us in America here. The dates for when they will open have not necessarily been announced or anything like that, but again, there'll be a link below to the news article that you can read more about that if you're interested in TikTok's new data centers. That is what I have for you this month for New on the Internet. Tell me which of these changes or updates you think is going to update or impact your business the most, or what I missed, because I always miss something in these live streams. And until next time, stay badass.